Donald Trump decided to go after Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez during his final debate with Joe Biden. But as always, the popular Congresswoman snapped back and put him in his place. So here's Donald Trump talking about AOC in regard to the Green New Deal. This was his way of not only attacking her, but also attacking Joe Biden. Let's see how it went down.
AOC+3, they know nothing about the climate. I mean, she's got a good line of stuff, but she knows nothing about the climate. And they're all hopping through hoops for AOC+3. Look, their real plan costs $100 trillion. If we had the best year in the history of our country for 100 years, we would not even come close to a number like that. When he says buildings, they want to take buildings down because they want to make bigger windows into smaller windows. As far as they're concerned, if you had no window, it would be a lovely thing. This is the craziest plan that anybody has ever seen. And this wasn't done by smart people. This wasn't done by anybody. Frankly, I don't even know how it can be good politically. Right. They want to spend $100 trillion. That's their real number. He's trying to say it was 6. It's $100 trillion. They want to knock down buildings and build new buildings with little, tiny, small windows. I mean, and many other things. Okay. And many other things.
Let me have the Vice President respond, and we're running out of time, and we have a lot more questions to get to. So let's hear from the Vice President. I have a number more questions.
I don't know where he comes from. I don't know where he comes up with these numbers.
Queens.
$100 trillion. Give me a break. This plan was, endorsed by every major environmental group and every labor group.
So as you can imagine, AOC didn't like that comment. But you know these Democrats, they don't like broken windows. They don't even like any windows. They would eliminate all windows. That's what these Democrats would do. So ridiculous. Yes. So
do we know where that comes from? What fringe right-wing blog, came up with that? It's just, I don't know where that comes from.
It's like the weird, but this is what I'm talking about when I say play offense. They make up the most ridiculous accusations imaginable. So why don't Democrats play ball? All right, you're gonna accuse us of like dumb things, like trying to eliminate windows in buildings. I don't know, you don't even have to make things up. That's the problem. Like, again, Trump is a target-rich environment. One person who seems to understand that is Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. It'd be wonderful to see her debate some of these Republican goons soon. And she says it's actually AOC plus 115 because that's how many House and Senate members have co-sponsored the most ambitious climate legislation in American history. I'm so deeply proud of and grateful of each and every one of the House and Senate colleagues who stand for our future and champion the Green New Deal, the boldest climate plan in US history. And if you look at her first tweet, I mean, it got more than 350,000 likes. It was insane. And Jamal Bowman also chimed in on this and says, there's more than 3. As we know now. And then Cori Bush also took part in this conversation and said, AOC plus 3, hate to break it to you, but it's not about to be, but it's about to be a lot more than 3. Actually, I don't hate to break it to you. And she also says, no matter who occupies the White House, we need progressive champions in the people's house. Join us today. And so just to give you guys some actual statistics and some polling on the Green New Deal and where Americans stand on that type of robust environmental policy, a 2019 survey conducted on behalf of 350 Action and Data for Progress found that the Green New Deal, summarized as policies that would transition the United States economy from fossil fuels to clean energy sources and drive job-creating investments in infrastructure and communities, was supported by 59% of the nation's voters, while only 28% opposed it. More recent polling done last month by The Guardian and Vice revealed that a growing share of the United States favors stronger climate policies. 70% of voters back government action to address the climate crisis. 3/4 want the United States to generate all of its electricity from renewable sources by 2035, and almost 2/3 reported being more likely to pick a candidate who favors a complete shift from dirty to clean energy. So as much as conservatives want to pretend as though the Green New Deal is some crazy fringe policy suggestion, the truth is more and more Americans, probably because they're dealing with extreme weather conditions, do want something to change when it comes to our energy dependency on fossil fuels.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious that clean environment, clean water, clean air is all very popular. Good jobs is very popular. Unionized jobs, very popular. All these things are very, very popular. And it kind of drives me crazy sometimes when people have like a hyper obsession with polling on any specific issue. Like, I mean, this comes up a lot when talking about fracking, right? Where like, a poll came out recently after the last debate in which like it showed how like a lot of Democrats don't support a ban on fracking or whatever, but that's only because they're Democrats and they filtered it through the partisan lens, and they understand that because like it's become an issue in the campaign that they have to go to their side and they're backing their leaders. But like at the end of the day, all of this stuff, all of like the sort of vague ideas around helping the environment while improving working conditions and housing conditions in this country, all of that is popular. Like, and Democratic leaders need to understand this. Like, when you do things that help people's lives, they become popular. So like, like if you're only just kind of like trying to read the tea leaves on any individual issue and see where the polling is exactly at, like the polling moves a lot wildly on these things, depending on how leadership reacts to them and how it gets filtered through the partisan lens. But at the end of the day, fundamentally, to understand that things like the Green New Deal, which would improve people's lives and make them have better jobs and would give people clean air, water, security, all these things that people, every single person always ever in the history of mankind in any society has always wanted, are popular. So yeah, I
mean, look, the question is, how do you get? I think Democratic lawmakers and Republican lawmakers know this is true. Republican lawmakers have always been super cozy with the fossil fuel industry. Of course, the fossil fuel industry also donates to a lesser extent to Democratic lawmakers. The question is, how do we get them to move away from that type of donor funding? Because they know that it's popular. That's the reason why Biden put out, he is supportive of the Green New Deal, but decided to put out his own policy because the Green New Deal became so toxic for the donor class, right? So let me rebrand it into something that might be a little more palatable to my donors. I think that's what Biden's doing. And of course, to be fair, his plan is not nearly as robust as the Green New Deal would be, but it's not terrible. I mean, he certainly would be far better for the environment than Donald Trump would be. Donald Trump has done everything in his power to roll back what little environmental protections were passed under the Obama administration. But there's so many popular policy proposals by progressives that get ignored by corporate Democrats all the time. And it's because they're literally paid not to support them. That's why money in politics is such a toxic component of our political system.
No, and the partisan nature of things. I mean, I think this is what whenever you saw like some poll, this was like a very kind of early 2000s things. You saw some poll, it's like, oh my God, 75% of Republican voters like think climate change is fake, and that misunderstands how these things flow like this. That's kind of letting Republican lawmakers off the hook, saying it like flows from the bottom up, as a sort of like, this is just a thing that Republican voters believe, therefore the Republican politicians sort of do that. No, and so because people kind of take cues from their leadership, like the people sort themselves out into like kind of teams and tribes, and then they take cues from their leadership, and they understand that in America, climate change became a partisan issue for whatever reason, for the reasons of the donors and the thing, and the fossil fuel industry buying off the thing, but the voters kind of sort themselves out into those things, and then it flows from the top down on those things. And broadly speaking, with something like climate change, if you're asking voters whether they would want to take a haircut essentially to, improve some vague idea called climate change, most people say no. But if the genius of the Green New Deal is tying climate change to an improvement in people's lives, which is something that everyone wants, whether you're Republican, black, green, brown, red, whatever, like every single person wants. It's jobs. You tie it to jobs, better housing, security, all those things. Like when you push it, like the genius of the American kind of anti-climate movement has been to push any climate change thing onto regular people and the costs of it onto regular people, and then you see people revolt. You know, it's why people like are so angry about the plastic straws, because it's like feeling like, you know, really like it's the people in power and rich people, they're the people that are causing climate change, but they're asking me to take a haircut while they're getting richer and richer and richer and richer and richer. You know, that's not how that works.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.